Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and many thanks for attending this introductory speech to the European Capital Market Panel that will take place shortly. My name is Sandra Ferri, and I'm heading the Life Science Venture Capital Investment activities at the European Investment Fund. The purpose of this session is to share with you EIF's perspective on what are the current European life science VC market strengths, but also the current gaps that we are seeing and what type of strategy we have implemented in order to address these gaps. Before starting, I would like to thank Sachs Associates for this opportunity. So let's get started. So who we are, what is EIF? So EIF is an EU body dedicated to improving access to financing for SMEs in Europe. We do not invest or lend directly. We are not a bank, but we invest through intermediaries. We have two main activities, one a guarantee one and an equity one, whereby we invest into private equity and venture capital funds. Our shareholders are the European Investment Bank, the European Commission, and also some private financial institutions. And this impacts the way that we invest on the market because we are on one hand let's say mission driven. So we are here to promote the EU policy in terms of innovation, in terms of job creations. But on the other hand, we're also here to very commercially oriented, and we're here to generate returns. And to do that, we have different pots of monies that we so mandates. We call them mandates that we manage on behalf of different stakeholders. And each of them always have those dual objectives of policy driven and commercially oriented, but some of them are more let's say policy driven, or others more financially oriented. So depending on the transactions that we're looking at, we then decide what is the best mandate to invest with. We invest in total circa 3 billion annually in private equity and venture capital funds. In terms of our specific life sciences experience, it goes back 25 years when the ecosystem was quite nascent, or the industry was quite nascent, and we've been ever since nurturing the development of the life science VC ecosystem. We have committed 3 billion euros to date in 140 life sciences venture capital and TT funds, technology transfer funds. And annually, this represents approximately between 300 and 350 million euros commitment in those type of funds. The life science venture capital investment activities provides a unique combination of superior returns and societal impact. Superior returns because it is one of the top performing asset class that we have in our portfolio. We also invest into tech VC funds. We invest into lower and mid-market funds. And in terms of performance, we're seeing that life sciences VCs, they generate double-digit net IR, and 50% of the best performing VC funds that we have in our portfolio are life sciences funds, while they represent only 25% of our investment activities. So they're doing really well in terms of relative performance. The performance is largely driven by the need of pharmaceutical companies to innovate in this space and to go for open innovation strategies, because they realize that they cannot rely solely on their R&D activities. We've seen a real shift on the market as from 2010 onwards, where corporates have become more and more acquisitive, and we see that this trend has been continuing ever since. We've seen now that corporates are ready to pay higher and higher premiums, and also that now they're even acquiring earlier, which translates into shorter holding periods for the VC funds. It has a high societal impact because the role that VCs are playing in driving innovation in the life science space is paramount. 60% of new drugs which are approved by the FDA are comes from VC-backed companies. And this is not by luck. This is because also the good VCs are providing a lot of value add to their entrepreneurs besides capital. They help them use this money in a focused way. They also mobilize the extensive networks of key opinion leaders, but also of very experienced executives that they can mobilize and that they can attract to work with their, let's say, with the startups. They have also a very strong networks amongst the corporate world that's also which generates more collaboration opportunities and also more exit opportunities. And also they have this network amongst the VC community where they can build very complementary syndicates of VCs of investors that can also bring complementary networks and more money to scale the companies. And we know how important it is to keep on innovating into the life science space. We know that the population is growing, that population also is aging. We know that there is a booming of autoimmune diseases, of cancer. We know that 75% of known disease do not have a treatment yet. We know that there are other viruses similar to COVID-19 that are currently on the watch list of the World Health Organizations. We know that we have also superbugs, so those very resistant bacteria for which we do not have any antibiotics that are threatening our hospitals. So there are multiple reasons to keep on innovating into this space. So, and here we have the opportunity through life sciences VC investments to address both, or to have the best of both, superior returns and societal impact. But what are the strengths of the European life science industries? First of all, there is very high innovation potential across the EU, with top life sciences universities. We are on par with the US in terms of scientific publications, and there are many examples of successful life sciences companies in all the industry subsectors. We're also seeing a growing and maturing life science VC ecosystem with a lot of experienced VC investors. 10 years ago, there were a lot of questions from LPs on whether the VC model was compatible with the life sciences investment, with life sciences. And actually, a lot of VCs have burned their fingers investing into this space. But the ones which have remained on the market are very experienced, and they have proven that yes, there is a way. They have managed to, so to say, crack the model to find the right way to address this space and to generate meaningful returns. And we're also seeing a growing pool of serial entrepreneurs. We're seeing a lot of entrepreneurs which are have been very successful in this space and that are starting new activities or are joining some startups to help. And also we're seeing a lot of structural advantages compared to the US. First of all, lower entry valuations. And also the European companies are very lean because of this structural lack of capital on the market. They have learned to do more with less capital, and this translates in very high multiple of costs for those for European exited companies. And this is something that foreign investors are recognizing. We're seeing a lot of US investors and Chinese investors investing in European life sciences companies, especially in the late stage. 30% of the late stage round are subscribed by US investors. And we're also being approached by an increasing number of life sciences venture capital firms in the US that are willing to establish a European activity because they recognize there is a tremendous market opportunity here. These are a selection of success stories in the European life sciences space. So you can see here CRISPR-Cas9 notably, but other many very strong names, and which shows that Europe has the potential to innovate and to bring disruptive innovation in the various subsegments of the life science industry. The next slide is showing how this is the map which is showing the current active life sciences venture capital players on the market. As you've seen, there are approximately 50 names on this slide. What you're seeing here is with the asterisks, the purple asterisks are all EIF's counterparts. So these are funds in which EIF are invested, and we have been nurturing this ecosystem by investing in supporting the established players since they were emerging. So that when they were also a first-time team, like Sofinnova, for example, or Hilde, or many of the established players, we've been backing them at the time that they didn't have such a tremendous realized track record, but also we are supporting players that are more emerging, notably in peripheral Europe, where we are making sure that they have all the right, let's say, that they have all the right ingredients in order to be successful in this industry and to have a long-standing activity, because our goal is to build a sustainable ecosystem across the European Union. But what are the market gaps? So first of all, there is a lot of innovation which is left on the shelf. EU originate 3 times less patents than the US and 9 times less than China. And although growing and maturing, the pool of life sciences specialized investors remains small. If you compare also to the tech, the number of players that are out there, the bar to raise a first-time fund is very high. It's higher than in the tech side. It's very challenging for emerging teams to raise a fund. There are also a lot of geographical disparities, which results in untapped innovation potential, and especially in peripheral Europe. I'm talking about Central Eastern Europe, about Southern Europe, but also the Nordics, and to a certain extent Germany, which is well served on the tech side, but not really not enough, let's say, on the life science side. And there is, last but not least, an acute financing need in the late stage segment, which results in no capital to scale for those life sciences companies, a lot of upside left to foreign investors, and to premature IPO. So generally speaking, the market is structurally undercapitalized, and the financing gap with the US keeps on growing. An average a EU life science entrepreneur receives 5 times less capital than in the US. And if you compare even to the European tech side, there are twice more capital available for digital companies than for biotech companies in Europe. And fundraising remains challenging for most of the life sciences players. So what's our strategy to address those market gaps? So first of all, we want to boost the translation of research into commercial products, and to do that, we are increasing our support to technology transfer funds, so funds which have which are dedicated to support research, which are originated from research organizations and universities, and that are working to help those projects grow to a stage where they become attractive for VC investors. Second, we are increasing our support to emerging life sciences teams to grow this pool of specialized life sciences funds, and especially in those underserved geographies. This is true across Europe, but especially we have a focus on those, let's say, peripheral Europe. And finally, support the creation of sizable life sciences fund, notably through these established players that are willing now to go beyond the 500 million euro mark, And also of crossover funds. This is more work in progress because we are trying to find the adequate resources to do this type of investments that are able to scale the European life sciences champions, so to give them more dry powder to bring them to successful exit. A few examples of how we've been addressing the life science space. So one of our goals is also to multiply resources that we can then mobilize to the benefit of an asset class. And this is what we've been trying to do with the asset management umbrella fund, so AMUF, where we've been attracting institutional investors that normally do not invest in private equity or venture capital markets. And we give them access to the best performing European funds. And we have a compartment dedicated to life sciences of 97 million euros, which have been invested in 10 life sciences funds. Actually, this compartment is performing all the others, so in the tech and in the growth capital side. The objective is really to give to put more light on those activities and to bring new types of investors to this activity. Another interesting initiative that I wanted to speak about is the Venture Capital Center of Excellence platform, which is a joint initiative between EIT Health and EIF. And here it is structured as a fund of fund, but it goes way beyond that. It is a kind of investors club that we have built with an anchoring investment from the European Commission of up to 150 million euros, commitment from EIF. And now we are fundraising among strategic investors such as corporates or family offices. We have a first corporate on board, Google, and we have several very advanced leads. And the objective here is to get to a 200 million compartment that will be invested into VC funds and especially emerging VC funds, emerging managers, and in peripheral Europe. And the idea is to provide those strategic corporates some visibility on those untapped geographies and that they would otherwise not really have access to. So it gives them a competitive edge. And on the other hand, it provides those emerging managers with an extended network that would have taken them a lot of time to build without such an initiative. So it's really a win-win situation. And the idea is to provide them multiple networking opportunities, so to share market insight, but also to explore potential collaboration. So co-investment, or also discuss about acquisition potential. So to conclude, the European life science venture capital market has all the ingredients to compete globally in this strategic sector, but the funding gap with the US keeps on growing. We know that the VC model is the right one to address the life science space, but more investments are needed in order to fuel the European life science market and bring it to its full potential. Many thanks for your attention.